आप सभी को नमस्कार। वेव्स तरुण तरंग द्वारा आयोजित व्याख्यान माला भारतीय शास्त्र बोध में आपका हार्दिक अभिनंदन एवं स्वागत है। किसी भी कार्य को जब हम प्रारंभ करते हैं तो अपने भारतीय संस्कृति की परंपरा रही है कि हम मंगलाचरण अथवा ईश्वर अर्चना के द्वारा उसे शुरू करते हैं। तो गायत्री मंत्र से मैं उसे प्रारंभ करता हूं और आप अपने मन ही मन उसे दोहराएंगे और अपने आप को म्यूट रखेंगे। ओम भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ओम। आप सभी जानते हैं कि भारतीय संस्कृति सनातन संस्कृति है, जिसमें अनेक ऋषियों ने, मुनियों ने, तपस्वियों ने अपने तपोबल से इस पावन धरा को, इस भारत भूमि को सींचा है। अनेक आक्रमण इस भारतीय संस्कृति पर हुए, लेकिन वो आक्रमण भी इस भारतीय संस्कृति, सनातन संस्कृति को खंडित नहीं कर सके। उन तपस्वी ऋषियों ने ही, ब्रह्म ज्ञानियों ने इस भारत भूमि के विषय में, भारत के दर्शन व अध्यात्म के विषय में, भारतीय मूल चिंतन के विषय में विभिन्न शास्त्रों, विभिन्न ग्रंथों के अंतर्गत या उसके माध्यम से हमें अमूल्य ज्ञान प्रदान किया है। आज हम उसी ज्ञान, उसी शास्त्र पर चर्चा करने वाले हैं। Now I am going to introduce our guest speaker who is going to talk to us about the dating of Rigveda, Dr. Aleh Perzashkevich. He is Associate Professor of History, Faculty of Belarusian State University, Minsk, Belarus. He is a great Vedic scholar and his first priority is the history of Vedic India and surrounding areas. He has reviewed the topic is more than 30 publications on work of Rigveda, या कहें कि ऋग्वेद पर इनके अनेक कार्य रहे हैं। Dr. Aleh, warm greetings and most welcome in lecture series Bharatiya Shastra Bodh. Now I request to Dr. Aleh to present your valuable words on dating of Rigveda according to its own evidence in front of us. Dr. Aleh.
So the topic you can see here, and you can use my screen especially to understand better what I'm talking about, because the things we are talking not easy to understand, and so evidence of this difficulty is the more than 200 years discussion about if Veda altogether and Rigveda can get any dates, or it is out of any historical accessibility. So what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to show that we have the chance to use the Rigveda itself and fix some dates or calculate some dates that can be used for special historical and general historical researches, and that can help the different directions of researches we have now in the world to coordinate each other and get more detail and more satisfactory answer. So, well, let me start. My basic idea that all Indian literature is out of history, unfortunately, because many principles, the ideas are grounded on these things, and beside this, we have many questions that have no answers till now. And the people of European thought still consider mostly that Indo-European history is still based on the Indian things, and especially the Vedic things, the history of Buddhism, and about many classical things, plots of world literature originating from the Sanskrit classics. And altogether in India, the question of the date and the question of the dates altogether, the chronology, is of the great importance for this, for everybody like that. So, well, we can start with this. And regarding the gravity and importance of the problem of time and space location, Rigveda is the most ancient written monument we have, at least the one we can read. And so I am trying to show the contemporary situation regarding these questions, both date and time location. First, it makes sense to define the existing possibilities of researches of historicity of any object. It is probably true that location from the point of view and absolute chronology is possible for Rigveda. To do it, I'm offering the following algorithm. Classification of appearance of the object, the place and time of its appearance, the material of the object, the form of the object, and the internal features, inscriptions, images, other traces of human activity. Why I'm doing this? Because we have the entire complex of features that are connected to Rigveda, and we have Rigveda itself as we have it. So, and all we are now observing is the question of whether we can extract any data from that without going outside of the monument itself. Discovery of location of the object within the certain period of history and with certain geographical region according to its appearance. Well, this is not easy thing, in fact, because first thing is language, another thing is physical and chemical methods we can use. The next one is discovery of geographical location of the object with geological methods, and the discovery of chronology and geographical location of the object with the means of biological and genetic methods. Well, and the next portion of features we should observe, we should review, is the discovery of location of the object within a certain period of history under its available content, which is probably the most interesting thing and the most important. You will see why, because the previous features are not always accessible and not always possible for us. Discovery of chronology of the object with using the astronomical data, and discovery of chronology and geographical location of the object with the help of material objects connected to it, like metals, plants, technologies, etc., etc. Discovery of geographical location of the object with the help of geographical data connected to it from inside the text. Definition of chronology and geographical location of the object with means of methods of art criticism. Previously, I think like a couple months ago, I was listening to the conference discussion regarding this last position, using the methods of art criticism towards their identification of time scale for many Indian foundings and many monuments of Indian art. And and I think now it is on the way, and that's why this point is also here. But regarding what we are talking now, I'll show what we can do with this. And the next will be the final thing will be the conclusion, of course, and the conclusions were would be of two kinds. There on the conclusion on every point, on each point, and total conclusion, where I am thinking to propose you the dates I get. Well, let's start from the results I have for this. The place and time of Indian appearance of Rigveda. What is interesting now, we do not have material testification of any Rigvedic existence as the entire complex, we know it now, before second millennium ED. The earliest scripts we have that can be dated washy-wishy without serious doubts are the results that you can see here, the second millennium AD, or common era, as you are now using this phrase. A material of the object. What we have now, it is the paper, cotton, and palm, mostly. I mean, the earliest things we have. Well, and I'm sorry. Well, the form of the objects we have the scrolls, and the external features like inscription records with the Siddham script, which is the most probably ancient, or better to say, the earliest one we have now. Then we are going to the second portion, to the second group of features, the discovery of location of the object within a certain period of history, with a certain geographical region according to its appearance. Language, Vedic language, which is ancient Sanskrit, discovery of chronology with chemical and physical methods. We cannot do it because the records we have are definitely not of the period they were created. But anyway, what we have now and what is done already for the scrolls we have, the scrolls we know are of the same date. I showed this exactly with these methods. The scrolls we have were dated. It's the second millennium AD. Discovery of geographical location of the object with the geological methods. As Rigveda is now the complex of the texts with their in fixed form or in oral form anyway, we cannot use their geological methods towards this complex of materials itself without using something else from extra side. Well, and now we are doing the discovery within the certain period of history and the certain geographical region according to its appearance. Discovery of chronology of the object with the means of biological and genetic methods. What is interesting now, modern data on population genetics of the old Indian population about 500 generations back, which is maximum now for washa-wishy definite identification. So the population testify, this data testify that during 10 to up to second millennium before Christ, before Common Era, Indian population had been steadily dividing into southern and northern parts. In addition, had no essential biologic contacts, both with each other and with the outer world during the period. And that period, neither North population nor South population had been changing genetically at any essential degree. This is probably the most recent researches done during the 5 years, I think, 5 years, I think, by mostly American part of researchers. As far as I know, some Indian researchers were also included to this project, in this project. So, well, this is the current situation we have it for now. Well, then the discovery of location within a certain period of history and its available content, which is definitely possible and which is the most important part of what we should do if we want to identify any connection between the text and the time. Rigveda holds some names and some number of personal names mentioned also in the royal list of Puranas belonging to, according to the Parviter's classification, one of the famous probably researchers of Puranic materials during the period of academical science, at least. To 21 90th generation of different dynasties. This number of dynasties are given according to the longest one showed by Parviter tables. Well, I'm just using them because it is not necessary to go the same way until we have these results already done in perfect form. So why I'm talking about these generations? Because we have, we have, the names, and we have the kings who were in the list before the events of Kurukshetra, and that the chronological period that is connected to them, that was connected to them, of course, should be prior to the Kali Yuga, which is the definite beginning of this Kurukshetra event, according to Indian tradition. Again, why I am doing this and what is the connection between this and Rigveda? Those governors give us the same way of doing dates, of doing chronology, like we have in the entire universal history when we use royal lists all over the world to make the straight chronological stream that can connect real events of the present to the past. Well, it was done actually as the spinal bone of universal chronology at once when such lists were found. Well, the situation is that the names and the royal lists formed the fundament of fundamental basement, or let's say fundaments of the current chronological lines we have for the universal history, especially for the ancient periods and medieval periods that are constructed mostly on the royal lists till now. And even where there are changes for them, the changes are mostly because of some additions or a clarification of some data, but mostly royal lists still form the spinal bone of this chronological situation in the universal history, both regarding to ancient times and medieval times, and sometimes even later. I don't mean this now that we have the ultimate data for Rigvedic chronology using the names we have in Rigveda. However, there is a possibility to use them, and so we use this phrase, not absolute but relative chronology, can be used primarily to understand what is what in real dating situation, if it's possible anyway, to put the events of depicted in Rigveda inside the real chronology, the real history of humanity, and take it out of the mythological sphere. So the first one person that have date for his reign and who made the clue for the Indian history, not only to Europeans, but to many researchers that are writing the historical books on Indian stuff, is Ashoka of Maurya dynasty. And his exclusiveness is because of his presence inside some records that can be correlated to what have European dating connections. First of all, to the Greek information that can be dated in absolute measures. And that's why Ashoka is the first clue who can be used as the starting point of calculations using the royal lists. The problem is that we do not have, in fact, washy-wishy, reliable lists that can be used without any real doubt inside what we are doing when we use it. Well, I'm trying to clarify the idea that despite of the importance of the royal list, and they are very important, absolutely, nevertheless, even we have the dates for Ashoka taken from the cross dating of Greek sources, which of course allow us to use the standard chronology. We're using universal history. We do not have the reliable lists from Indian sources that can be used without any doubt, and which are expected to have this right alliance to the previous times without any gaps inside, or within, better to say. Let us do the following step. The names we have inside the Rigvedic text itself. And after purgative tables, I am giving the number of this person inside the generation according to the longest line. And the longest line, of course, there is the Ikshvaku line. And Pargeter exactly proposed this for the most detailed one. I mean, the Ikshvaku is the most detailed line we have. And the date or the position inside the generation, the number you see in the fourth column, is the number of this person, not inside his own dynasty that is shown here, but in correlation with the Ikshvaku dynasty, which is the longest one and the most detailed one according to the Pargeter alliance. We need it just because to understand the relative position in between them. And what is the most important, I think, that we have, this list is not complete. I have done probably the big part, but I'm sure it is not the final list. And while researchers towards this direction might give us more detailed situation inside the Rigveda, because you can see here which position is mentioning inside the text. The second column you can see where the name is inside the Rigvedic text. So all these names you can see they are from Rigveda. That's what I'm talking. We are doing the dating stuff regarding the Vedic text, Rigvedic text itself, without using anything extra. I'm just giving the list of generations to identify the relative positions in between them. This position can be used to understand of approximate distance in between them. The time scale in between the events we have there. Again, this is not a complete list of all the names that can be used for the royal list chronology. inside Rigveda. I'm sure that we can add something else. Well, just this is done by myself. Well, and this is not the only thing I'm doing in Rigveda. So just the direction, I would say. And this is the one of the way how we can do, and we can see the distance. And this distance is between this particular person and the events of Kurukshetra, because this list predates Kurukshetra anyway, and the last position is like 93, is the position of the beginning of Kurukshetra events regarding the Puranic tradition there. Well, and now you can see the table column number 5, 6, and 7, showing us the distance between the events of Kurukshetra and the person we are mentioning here, or mentioned inside Rigveda. Well, you see, this is a problem. I hope you can see it now. I mean, we have the time scale in between the persons mentioned in Rigveda, even if we use the generation distance proposed according to different researchers. Well, the last table column is 12 years proposed by Parviter himself for his researches. So anyway, we can see that inside the Rigveda we have almost 1,000 years at least. Which is absolutely reasonable, sounds for me, for instance, absolutely reasonable, because this is not the situation that is fixed as the simultaneous events everywhere inside the book. So it means that Rigveda, of course, is the complex, and of course it is the collection, and nevertheless it embraces many strata inside. So in different time periods that are involved there, that are constructed, built there, to show there some important things and some processes they consider to regard as the important ones. So even more, I would say that this 1,000, at least approximately 1,000 years inside, is probably the period of fixing of the data they have, the results they've got from their ritual activity, for instance. This is the absolutely a little bit different subject, and the ritual activity, of course, should be discussed in different place. But now we have the first idea of, or even relative chronology that Rigveda has inside at least 1,000 years. Well, this discovery with the astronomical data, which is also interesting because there were many attempts to do it, and we do not have reliable things there till now, because there are a lot of problems inside the identification, a lot of problems with the question of identification, of ID, of what we can use actually, of which notions we can use. But still, what we know since at least Tilak time, and even in previous period for Indian tradition, it's a longer period than even starting from Tilak more than 100 years ago, that Vedic tradition, after Rigveda at least, have the very definite indication to some events that are related to their sun accession in Pleiades, which is critical, of course. And the critical period is, according to the Nakshatra tradition, is the period that can be dated up to the 2,000 years BC, well, approximately. There is no critica inside the Veda, no mentioning of this. However, we have these evidence for the post-Rigvedic situation, so we can do we can make the conclusion that we have the period before 2000 BC for the Rigvedic events, as if there is no any indirect, whatever indication mentioning the critical period. And as soon as we have it in the later literature, so we can definitely conclude this is a period before the Pleiades period, or the period of Critica. Rigveda itself should be taken place earlier, during the epoch of Aldebaran. Yes, we do not have the indication. We have 3 times of Rohini, which is Aldebaran. In Rigveda, no one Critica, but 3 times Rohini. All the mentionings are not connected to any astronomy directly. At least we can do with some approximation or guessing, and saying that is some sort of mentioning of astronomical data towards the situation depicted there inside the hymns within the rituals. This is again different question, but we have the mentioning of Rohini, just words, it's known for them. And even the period of Mrigashira, I am showing here the time. You can see this is if it's Aldebaran. We have so 28 centuries BC, or earlier than that. Like Mrigashira, for instance, it would be also even before the time, before the Rohini period. So we can actually say that it might be also the Mrigashira period involved, because Mriga word is also often in Rigveda, and the situation is known. And again, I would say this is the question to be researched. If it's possible to say that some mentioning of these things can be connected to any astronomical event, to any astronomical data, or there is the astronomical mirror of the ritual practice they are doing during mentioning these words, it is not easy question. I understand this, but this again should be researched, whether we can see any astronomical projection and astronomical mirror to what is depicted inside the Rigvedic ritual hymns, and the ritual itself that is depicted there can be understood also like a project of astronomical events and the positioning of some astronomical realities during this during this ritual practice. Well, it's interesting that in fact this data regarding the Critica and pre-Critica, better to say, Pleiad Rohini period, and probably remember this Rohini event during the Rohini situation during the Mahabharata events, the Kurukshetra events also, because Rohini plays an important role there, as you probably remember this, but again, it's out of Rigvedic situation. So the interesting that Abulari Han Biruni, who is the Iranian, I would say, thinker, or who was involved in political events of 10th, 11th century AD, and he made his book on India because of the interest of the rulers. He was involved in their actions somehow, and their aspirations, and he visited India, I mean Abul Burhan Biruni, and made his book India. And if somebody didn't read it, I would recommend it to do. It's an interesting thing because it's the beginning, I would say, of academical approach, despite who was Al-Biruni, and it was far from being the modern understanding of academical science. However, in many cases, we have the perfect evidence that has a very good ground in Indian tradition. And for many, many years, many researchers tried to show that Abu Rihan's date of beginning of Kali Yuga 3102 BC. I'm sure you can see it now. And the Pandava dynasty began in 2449. Under the serious critics because they are not matching to any European constructions. However, Biruni did it not from his own mind. It was not taken from outside. It was because of usage of Indian sutra traditions, which is interesting, in fact, because during doing my researches, I found that he really used the Indian sutras on astronomy, and maybe not himself, but regarding to the tradition, he was connected to somehow Baudhyana school. But in fact, his calculations come from the indications showed by Aryabhata and Varahamihira, which is mostly Aryabhata. And that's interesting. Europeans, in fact, accepted this date. You see, 3102 not for beginning of the Kali Yuga itself, but as a starting point to calculate the period of time or the dates for many, many Indian historical persons. And if you open the European editions of 19th century and the early 20th century, for the persons like Indian astronomers, Indian philosophers, you can find this date as the starting point to calculate between these calculations of Al-Biruni, which is given because of his fixing the date between the distance and time between him, his creation of this India chapter, and the event that he is depicting. That's why we have the absolute date 3102 in years. So, we have these as the early 4th millennium BC for the period of Kurukshetra, or let's say from the beginning of Kali Yuga, even if the Kurukshetra started a little bit later after this. This is not the problem. Even the dates we have for Pandava dynasty can play a role, but for our Vedic stuff, it's a little bit out of the subject, so I'm not doing this more. We can just continue. Discovery from the Indian realities, and two realities I mean, the horse classical and the metals, and the discussion between if there was a horse inside Rigveda, or if there were any metals inside Rigveda, if there are any realities they can identify with the bone findings, with the archaeological discoveries, and in many, many cases. This is the clue, actually, the crucial positions inside discussions, whether there are metals there. For instance, if it's Ayas mentioned in Rigveda many times, if it's iron, or if it's copper, or if it's bronze. Well, what can I say for this and for the whole discussion? Ritual texts of Rigveda are not the texts to depict the material world itself as it is. I mean, this is not the idea to depict the text, to depict the reality as an object and as a subject. They are depicted mostly as the elements that are used with their qualities, and it's exactly, we have the quality that is important for the ritual, whatever is the bearer of this quality. And this is important regarding to what Rigveda shows, for instance, for Ayas, and it is published already, even by me. It was done in Delhi in the Sanskrit studies, I think like 5 years ago, or maybe a little bit more. I'm quite sure we are not talking about metals itself, themselves. No any particular metals, no even a reason to say that we are talking about metals there. Ayas is not metal at all. Ayas is a number of qualities they used for their practice reasons, and they mentioned during the rituals. And well, these qualities were used also to form the notion, the Latin notion, the Latin names for metals. When we say, for instance, that Krishna is definitely metal in the, for instance, Brahmana period, I mean the period of Brahmanas, which is true, and the Ayas is still the name of iron in India, and the same root close this to it. We have in many languages, like in German, for instance. Well, I would say there is a distance between the forming of notion and the realities that are involved in forming this process. When we're talking about Rigveda,
please conclude your lecture, sir. Please.
Sorry?
Please conclude your remarks, sir.
Okay. So yeah. We have actually, this is the most important things, and I'm now concluding. I mean, this the metal case and the horse case show us that Rigveda is in the text itself shows the very starting point for forming of these notions without having these notions informed, and they are connected to any particular subject, material subject. It is not. Well, and here is my conclusion. Rigveda is definitely the northern Indian monument. Regarding the geographical data, we are not touching this, but the question is that according to the section 2, we have late second, early first millennium BC because of the European researchers of linguistics during the last period. But any proof of this situation is out except for the genetic data. Then if we consider Rigveda as the common Indian thing, though it was able to be the common one only after second or in second millennium BC maximum, and then even later after this. So this date is fine for doing the Rigveda as the entire Indian thing, but not about their situation that is depicted there. According to section 3, Rigveda is an Indian monument of the late early second millennium BC, according to the data of Puranas, which is completely not correct. I said this already because the lists are not complete and there are many gaps there inside. Well, this is the 4th and 3rd millennium BC, according to the date of astronomy, and at least 4 early 3 millennium BC, according to the material world depicted. Regarding how it started, I mean, the domestic or the spreading of the horse farming or appearance of the horse farming, the development of metallurgy, appearance of metallurgy there. So, and regarding the situation we have for, even for the royal lists, when we are talking about the Indian evidence, when we're seeing this Kurukshetra is the event of late 4th millennium BC, we have this previous period for Rigveda definitely. So, and altogether, we can date these realities at least 2nd millennium BC, but most likely as 4th 3 millennium BC, with some possible indications to even 5th millennium BC. So, and altogether we have like 2000 years inside Rigveda now, and what we can definitely prove without going outside of Rigveda now and without saying something about the extra data we have, we can extract from the out of Rigvedic sources and out of the Rigvedic researches. So I'm saying the following, like the final conclusion is, if we can find the period for the development or formation of metallurgy inside India, the starting of the farming of the animals like horse, with their real finding of the evidence of domestication there. We can definitely find this connection between Rigveda and this material world. Also, if we have the detailed analysis of what kind of astronomical data we have in Rigveda, inside or within the ritual depicted there, we can probably have the next connection between the Rigvedic data and the material real world. So for now, what from my own understanding of what I showed you with the arguments I gave, I think that 3rd millennium BC is the best situation we can get now, and probably the most proved one regarding the Rigvedic source itself. So I think there's probably now I am out of sharing the screen, and I think this we can, I am finishing this, and I think it was understandable. If there are any questions regarding this and any comments, you're welcome. So
thank you,
that's
sir.
all I have to say.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving the valuable lecture on Rigveda. अभी हम जो श्रोता हैं, अगर हमारी कोई जिज्ञासा है या कोई प्रश्न है तो हम सर से पूछ सकते हैं। उसके लिए सबसे पहले हम रेज हैंड करेंगे और संक्षिप्त में अपनी जिज्ञासा या प्रश्न करना है, कि हमारे पास समय अधिक नहीं है। जो भी मित्र अपने प्रश्न पूछना चाहते हैं तो रेज हैंड करें। हाँ, चित्रांश आप पूछ सकते हैं, अनम्यूट करेंगे।
जी सर। Sir, my question is regarding the dates of Saraswati River. So Saraswati River is dated back to 4th millennium BC. So how does it add up to the dating of Rigveda?
Well, okay, this is a good question. I was out of Saraswati discussion here because this is the separate thing, I think, and of course even myself did it several times, and there are more than me and more important researchers than me regarding this thing. What I can say, of course, when I'm saying that Rigveda has itself more than 1,000 years, definitely. Well, there are periods there that were definitely connected to Saraswati existence. And whether we can conclude this until Saraswati existed, Rigveda was composed, this is partly true, but some things, what I think there, Saraswati has very, very long history itself. The connection in between these and Rigvedic text should be also researched towards exactly the situation of whether we can establish the periods for Saraswati and its connection to the realities shown in Rigveda, because sometimes when we have this ritual practice, we have the altogether we can have the events of 4th millennium and 3rd millennium BC inside the different rituals that have the same goal, I would say. Ritual practice and Saraswati role inside there should be actually researched as the definite connection between the roles of Saraswati inside the ritual. In every case, we have the mentioning, despite whether it's river or goddess, it doesn't matter. For Rigvedic composers, I am not agreeing with those who consider that we should divide. We shouldn't. They did not divide it like that. It was goddess, or it was river, or it was something else. How strong it is involved, and if they expect, for instance, the Saraswati alive there, or the Saraswati as their previous element that took place when the situation they used was started. So again, there is a period inside the Rigveda that has the Saraswati alive, but whether this is the limit, I'm not ready to say. Probably not.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chitrans. Chitrans is a graduation student in Sanskrit honors in Sri Venkateshwara College. Now, next question is Dr. Dhananjay, sir. Can you ask? Dr. Dhananjay.
Yes, good evening to everybody. Actually, it is not my question, it is just little suggestion. Dating Rigveda, it is seems a little odd to me. It is my personal view. Already Vedas are dated. Already 4 Vedas are composed. They have their own dates, time era. So dating Vedas, it means something beyond the expectation. Better will go at accepting the dates of Vedas or uh, finalizing the acceptance level of the audience, reader. So dating Vedas, I think this title seems little hasty. This is a suggestion, not question. You think over it. Our honorable speaker may guide. Thank you.
Thank you. I also see your questions in the chat. This is the same. I think you are asking now. Yes, I'm right.
Yes.
Okay. What I'm talking about, I'm not giving the exact dates. I'm giving the situation we have there inside the text and the time period that is involved there inside. That can be proved. This is the problem. Proven. This is the problem because we use the text. Usually, we use the text not for making speculations. It is just because of the historical situation depicted there, how we can prove it. I mean, what is provable, what is not. I'm not insisting on the definite dates. I'm just saying that it is a long period involved there, more than 1,000 years. And when you say valid time zone, it is, this is definitely the time zone in between the 4th and 2nd millennium BC. And the practice that we have is longer than any particular situation depicted. This is the question. We have many spots there, many time situations depicted there, collected in one form. Sometimes the ritual collects many time periods there inside because they have this practice, effective practice during this ritual in different situations. They collected all these things like the accumulation of the entire ritual, constructing of the ritual during the long period. I already said once that, for instance, Indian calendar they used, the nakshatra calendar, has the cycle like 28, almost 29,000 years inside. So I mean the cycle is more than 20,000 years, 28,000 years, almost 29,000 years there. What we are talking about, this we are talking about the in fact appearance of the human species inside the Indian subcontinent. This is the accumulation. They constructed the calendar during the period of 30,000 years. So the same situation for ritual. The ritual was fixed there at that time, and the reality itself was much longer. So we are talking just about the fixing and what can be proven, but not about the events that took place, because the events were accumulated during the thousands of years. This is the practice of a human being.
Thank you.
Abhi Shashi Tiwari ma'am.
Between can I ask one question?
Absolutely.
On some slides, Dr. Aleh, you have used AD/BC, second millennium AD, then in the bracket BC. So that was 2 times done.
I know, I see. Antichrist.
And /AD. Before conclusion, the slide number, maybe any number, but before conclusion.
What do you mean? Before conclusions?
There was a slide which was like that.
I'm checking.
So I think you mean to say second millennium BC.
No. I mean, if we are talking, this is the situation. When I'm talking about the common era, I'm talking about the only possibility when we are saying this AC common era, the period of dating, the time of dating of existing scrolls of Rigveda. we do not have the scrolls earlier than 2nd millennium BC for now, and this or AD for now. So, and this is how it works. The earliest scripture we have physically is of 2nd millennium AD, and this is what I mean. But when we're talking about the language, for instance, a European position is set the 2nd millennium BC, which is definitely, I am not accepting this, but this is different discussion why. But we have this 2nd millennium AD for existing scrolls, 2nd millennium BC for European position regarding the language, and dates for genetic situation. And all the rest, I would say, from Rigveda, I would say we should talk about 3rd and 4th millennium BC, definitely.
Okay, clear. So as a concluding remark, I have been invited. I am happy to say that Dr. Aleh has put a large efforts to take up a question or a topic or a issue which is very difficult to set aside. It is said by someone that no one on earth can decide the date of the Rigveda or the Vedic literature. But he tried it, and I am happy that he tried on the basis of many scriptures. And he, especially, you have noticed, I am amazed the method you had adopted. Your methodology for research is very attractive. From known to unknown, you are going towards, from known to unknown, from Kali Yuga to back of Ashoka, Maurya, etc., etc. So it is a way, a research aptitude, which shows your research aptitude. And historically, naturally, you have tried your all resources on historical basis and on the evidences which you have gathered from different scriptures written by different authors, books from different authors. So 300 or between 200 millennium is before Kali Yuga, before Mahabharat war. All these statements are very true, because it is, and I am very happy to note that he is very much sure that the location is India. There is no doubt location is India. There is no doubt that Rigveda is the oldest literature on the earth. He is very sure about that. He is very sure that the Aryans are the original people of all Indo-European persons. So am I right? So these are his
mostly yes, Shashi.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the kind words.
Yeah. So he has drawn certain conclusions which are very important, and he is a student of history. It is very good that in far away from India, he is putting his all efforts to know our ancient history. Our most ancient Rigveda is his favorite his scripture. You must know he can speak on any subject of the Rigveda. He has written to me about society, about ritual, about date. Then I selected date. So thank you very much for coming here and for giving you're presenting your views here about the dating of the Rigveda on the basis of its own evidences. And we are obliged, we will be grateful, and maybe we may invite further you and any other time also. Okay.
Anytime, welcome. Thank you very much.
I will request, I'll request a small thing that if you can work on metallurgical data, the metallurgy of all these periods, if you can, because in Belarus you've been working on metallurgy so well, especially the powder metallurgy, where the Kudremukh ores, and they had very fine metal ore, which was 99.9% as iron ore, and which they used in metallurgy. So I think a little bit of work on metallurgy will definitely help us to reach those areas of dating the Vedas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I see your question there. Well, quick answer. This is the question. Rigveda has, for my understanding, and you can read it even in India published already, that we have very, very beginning of the formation of the notion of metallurgy. And metallurgy used the terminology, used the features taken from the ritual as the correct way of constructing the reality, not taking it out of the reality they were involved in. They did not use anything outside of ritual, not to violate the reality. This is how it works. I mean, let's say Rita, there is a Rita prescription. And what they were doing, they are doing all the time, they are putting themselves inside these Rita rules, and everything they were trying to do, they were trying to be inside the Rita rules that they were involved, and how they understood them and how they were able to follow. So let's say when we say ayas is the ritual thing that has definite qualities inside ritual, and these qualities were put then after onto the material subjects that have the same quality. This was the way how to involve the new technology inside the ritual without violating the reality for them. They just took the new achievement, a new discovery, and put it, constructed or just make it suitable or known to the ritual world they were in. I don't know if I am clear about it, but that's how it works. So that's why ayas is not metal in Rigveda. It is not the notion like we used to know about the notions. It's not a Aristotelian principle. It is not just metal. It is the number of qualities that were taken later for the similar things to put these things inside the ritual world. I mean, inside the world that was accepted according to their notion. I mean, according to their consciousness, according to their conscience, according to their reality, feeling of reality, not to violate their Rita rules.
Thank you, sir. डॉक्टर अपर्णा धीर, धन्यवाद ज्ञापन के लिए डॉक्टर अपर्णा धीर। उसके पश्चात में कल्याण मंत्र रहेगा और फिर हम अपना स्थान छोड़ सकेंगे। डॉक्टर अपर्णा धीर
जी, सभी को नमस्ते।
नमस्ते।
जैसा मुझे कहा गया है वोट ऑफ थैंक्स के लिए, तो इस विषय में मैं यही कहना चाहूंगी। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, आई वुड लाइक टू कंग्रेचुलेट वेव्स यूथ विंग तरुण तरंग फॉर टेकिंग दिस इनिशिएटिव एंड ऑर्गेनाइजिंग दिस लेक्चर सीरीज ऑन भारतीय शास्त्र बोध. It is indeed an honor for Waves Youth Wing and or for all of us to have a scholar of international fame, Dr. Aleh, with us today, as he is an associate professor of history from Belarus, and he has agreed to enlighten us on the very debating topic, dating of Rigveda according to its own evidence. And most of the things already Dr. Shashi Tiwari madam has said in her concluding remarks, which I was supposed to say. So I'm not again saying all those things, but again I want to say that sir, we are really very grateful to you for sharing detailed information in this regard, and hope we would have more such talks from you at Waves in future too. Also, I'm very much thankful to all the other attendees who are present in the program. I can see many of the faculty members and our own Waves Life members, Dr. Ashalata Pandey ji, Dr. Chand Bharadwaj ji, Brigadier Dr. Raj Purohit ji, Rajendranath Pandya ji, and many other students who are interested in this area. I'm sure in future lectures also, we will have your participation, and this lecture series will continue to another 15 days as we have decided till date. So this is indeed the great initiative by our own Professor Tiwari ma'am. This is because of her vision we are able to organize this series. We are thankful to ma'am also for guiding us always. And last but not the least, the coordinator of the program, Dr. Vikas Sharma ji, is the main backbone of this program. On behalf of all of us, I would like to thank him for all the efforts he has put in, the link, the poster, everything to connect all of us together. He is the one who has taken all the effort in this. And so I'm thankful to all the attendees, all the organizers of this program, and especially and very specially to our learned speaker of this talk. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
थैंक यू अपर्णा जी. अपर्णा जी के बिना तो ये सभी कार्य संभव ही नहीं है. हमेशा कोई ना कोई लेक्चर तैयार करते हैं तो उनकी सहायता के बिना आगे बढ़ना भी मुश्किल है. तो सबसे अधिक धन्यवाद अपर्णा जी का. अभी कल्याण मंत्र रहेगा, उसके पश्चात हम सभी अपना स्थान छोड़ सकेंगे. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ओम शांति शांति शांति.